Hey everybody. Guess I should get that out of the way for a second. There we go. Yeah, it's TGIF Friday, the TGIF vlog, if you will. It's 9:12 in the morning, 9:13 if you will. And I'll tell you, what a week it's been. All started this past Sunday. I tell you folks, it's been a very interesting week. Let me explain this. You see, this past Sunday, well, actually it all started on Saturday. You see, this past Saturday, we all went to my sister's house for a little get-together. A little celebration, if you will. Basically, we were there to celebrate my nephew's 18th birthday, which occurred officially last Tuesday. A week from this past Tuesday, I should say. It occurred on the 2nd. As well as celebrate the fact that he was a graduate. My second older sister had this all planned out. She wanted to make it all happen, and she did. She actually made it happen. And what was nice about it is my aunt and my uncle, who me and my mom go out with sometimes when there's something going on around town, either in Tracy, Manteca, Modesto, Dublin, wherever. They came down. My cousin, who I'm 4 years older, her and her husband came down along with her son, and everybody had a good time. Sure, there was a lot of drinking. Well, not a lot of drinking, but a good share of it. If you were a good share of drinking, pretty much everybody was cool. Me, I was totally sober. Well, not really, but let me just put it this way. Drink some of these, some waters, mixed in with your beer, and you're pretty much okay for the rest of the night. And I was. My older sister and her husband, who we rode with, were not. They were pretty much done for the night, if you know what I mean. So my mom had to drive the van home for them. Anyway, we had a good time. And then Sunday, we were invited over to, we were invited over for a barbecue. If you will. And things were all right. You know, we got to spend time with my niece, who wasn't able to attend on Saturday, but we spent some time with her and my great nephew. So that was fun, if you will. That was fun. And yeah, we did spend time with her on the 4th of July, as well as some family friends, if you will, or friends that we consider family, if you will. And let's just say 4th of July, Saturday was a lot more different than that because I was totally gone. I mean, my brother-in-law even told his brother-in-law, if you will, on the other side, that when I can drink, boy, can I go, if you know what I mean. But anyway, you know, we did all that. All that took place, you know. And like I said, on Sunday, we got to spend time and everything. And then that night, Sunday night, my now adult nephew, 18-year-old nephew, was dropped off by his dad. Because he was going to go to work the following day with my brother-in-law, my older sister's husband, and was going to go to work with him. And you know, he was basically going to go to work for his business. You see, my brother-in-law has this pressure washing business to where he basically washes down company vans or buildings or whatever. So He takes so my nephew's like, hey, I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna earn me some money, right? So he goes down. So he goes with him. So basically, my other brother-in-law drops him off at my older sister's. He spends time there, goes swimming and all that, and then we both come back here. All three of us, me, my mom, and my nephew, come back here. And, you know, the next day he kind of rests up a little bit and all that. He goes out and buys some food with my mom, if you will. He goes out and buys some food with my mom that day before he goes to work. Basically buys himself some snack wraps, bought a 24-pack of Dr. Pepper, and just necessary stuff. He even bought some donuts for us. He didn't have to. It was about $60. Didn't have to use his money if he wanted to. Basically, my mom told me that he said, hey, go ahead, Grandma, get whatever you need, you know. So, and he even helped me, like, a day or two later, get a Rockstar, basically pay for my stuff, because I was getting a Rockstar and I was getting some aspirin as well that my mom needed me to get. So, that was cool of him. It was cool of him to do that. Anyway, like I was saying, he goes to work. So anyway, after that's all said and done on Monday, he goes to work that night, Monday night, with my brother-in-law. And my brother-in-law pays me via check what he owed me for the previous week. Because basically he pays, it seems to be like a $60 rate. A $60 a night payment. Basically, every night you get is $60. So Monday through Thursday, you're looking at essentially $220 for a 4-day week, and maybe $280 for a 5-day week. Well, he goes to work with them, and they go to Petaluma, and then to San Rafael. He calls up, lets us know how he's doing, because he's taking a break, blah, 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 and all that. He gets up, so he does all that, and I wake up. I'm kind of off and on that night, and I hear the truck come by. I hear the truck stop by. My brother-in-law's truck, dropping him off, and he drops him off, and my nephew just goes straight to bed for a little. Goes right to bed. Kind of says he's a little sore and all that, but he's fine and everything. He's going to go back with him or something like that on that night, on Tuesday night. Well, unfortunately, that did not happen. My nephew said he was going to go back with him on Tuesday night. Did not happen. Here's what happened. It's my nephew's first time, right? Because basically he's using a brush to do this, right? Going to go up, down, up, down, up, down. Make sure you don't miss no spots. Well, guess what happens? Me and my mom go to cast a check at her bank, because it was made out to her even though it was my money. We go to cast a check. And the reason we need to cast a check is because that morning, or not actually that morning, but that Monday morning, the day before, Monday morning, I get a call from the lawyer people that I owed money to. Basically, I owed money for checks that I had, bad checks I had written years before. Many years before. And they tell me, and I try to work something out with them. And I try to tell them, look, this is what happened. I had to help pay for my dog's hospital visit and all that. And because, you know, she had a spider bite. And she's doing good now. She's definitely doing better, my dog. And I have to help with the red and all this. And it's like, okay, they understood that, but it didn't help. They said, look, you still need to do this. So basically they said, look, yes, we understand, but unfortunately this is what's got to happen if you don't do something. So basically, I'm thinking in my mind, they're going to basically start garnishing. Or they're going to release any garnishments or whatever. They can't do that. Can't really release no garnishments. I don't know what that means anyway. Well, they can't garnish my SSI, my SSDI is what I'm trying to say. So what happens is this. My mom, like I said, takes me to go get the check, cash. We come back here, I get the information I need from the internet, basically the address and all that, of where I gotta make sure basically I go on the internet to make sure I get the address and everything right, make sure I get my account ID and my client ID all corrected and all correct. And then we go to the post office, we get the money order, I fill it out. Well, actually my mom helps me fill it out because my handwriting is not that good, not that great. So we all fill it out, we both fill it out together, and we mail it off. Express mail. That's right. I mailed it off on Tuesday, and it got there yesterday. So by express mail, we sent it out. So basically, they get the money. I call them up. They tell me they got it. They gotta wait. I call them today. They say it's posted. So anyway, getting back to Tuesday, if you will. Getting back to Tuesday. My nephew, after that's all said and done, we come back after we've mailed out the thing and all that. And my nephew, basically, who my mom has told, hey, call up your uncle or text your uncle or text your aunt and see what can happen. Because you see, my nephew suddenly gets up and basically says his back's hurting, his arms is hurting, his hands are hurting. Basically, he feels very sore and he can't go that night. He can't go to work that night. And he's asking me if I could sub for him. And hey, I have no problem. I can make $60 extra. Boom, right there, right? Make up for what I lost. Well, what happens is my nephew gets a text back on his phone, not this phone, but for example, he uses the cord for his phone, but gets a text back from my sister. And she says that cannot, and basically she comes out and says, you can't do it. You can't take that day off. And if you can't go, you're not suited for the Marines, which he's going to go into by the start of next year. Basically saying if you can't do another day of pressure washing, basically scrubbing down some vans, then you don't have it in you to be in the Marines. And then, to add insult to injury, if you will, I guess she decides, oh, by the way, tell your uncle he's not going to be going anymore either because he's been missing some spots. And my husband has been having to go over them. Well, let me say this. I can understand I'm not the best. When I look at this, I told my mom, I told my nephew, we're not perfect. I'm not the best, but I'm at least there. Heck, the last time I was there with them was in Concord. It was hot, I had a headache, but I still went. But I still worked. I still worked, and what did I do? I rested a little bit because I felt very hot and all that, but what did I do? I got out of there, I picked up the hose that my brother-in-law that's connected to the pressure washing gun that my brother-in-law uses to wash down the vans, and I'm carrying that thing to certain places that he needs it to be carried to so that he has enough hose and doesn't get it tangled. And he appreciates that. So instead, what happens? I get told I can't go anymore. And then my nephew, he gets told he can't go anymore if he's going to be like this. And basically he can't be in the Marines if he's going to be like this. And what's funny about it is my mom pretty much figured he was going to pull this. And it's like, okay, they can pretty much understand where he's coming from. And, they can pretty much understand, well, wait, he says he's going to go Wednesday and Thursday, but he can't do it tonight. Brian will go with him. It's like they understand, okay, he can't go this night, but he's willing to go the next 2 nights, just let Brian take his place. Let him have this time to rest up his body. And it just, and the thing is, it's not the fact that he doesn't like doing the job. He says he likes it. He says it's fun. He just doesn't like the hours, and there are certain individuals on that he worked with that he doesn't like. Heck, even my brother-in-law, who runs the business, who does the driving to all the areas, he doesn't like these two guys either, but he deals with them, he tolerates them, because they're the best at what they do. Or they're the best he's got right now. So instead of basically working it out, saying, okay, I understand it's your first day, you need to rest up, fine, Brian can go with you. It's like, no, we'll just leave it up to these three again. And again, that's what happened. My nephew, instead of being able to work last night and Wednesday night and maybe even Tuesday, which would have been either him or me, probably me, he only works one night and only probably earns $60. That's it. And it's like, and the guys that we worked with, I worked with the same guys. Some of them would, as he would point out, would slack off. I mean, both he and I have one thing in common. We both have had to clean certain areas of the vans and all that, to where one guy that barely speaks any English, no offense to anybody else, but barely speaks any English, didn't clean up very well. But anyway, after Monday night, Tuesday, very early, Tuesday morning, whatever, my nephew no longer worked for them. End of story. Nothing. Done. Complete. Bye. Just didn't work. He just doesn't work with them anymore. End of it. Neither do I. I mean, I can understand, and his thing, I can understand where, they need people not to miss any spots if it's the company themselves that's hired my brother-in-law and my sister's company, pressure washing company business, to do the pressure washing on the vans. I can understand if it's the company that hired them to do the pressure washing that says, hey, we want these perfect. We want these just like that. We want them so clean, they're going to sparkle. I can understand if it's people like that. And it's not my sister or brother-in-law's brother-in-law that's saying that. I can understand if it's the company that hired them to do pressure washing. I can understand that. And in a sense, I can also understand it, if it is my brother-in-law and my sister's thoughts as well. But I think, honestly, in my personal opinion, I truly believe it's the company that hired them to do the pressure washing, that hired the business, that signed the contract with the business to do the pressure washing, that's getting on them about it. I really do. I don't think it's necessarily my sister. I don't think it's necessarily my brother-in-law, because they know I'm dependable. They know my nephew's dependable. I think it's mostly the fact. It's the company that hired their business to do the pressure washing on that company's vans. That's what I think. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. That's what I think. But anyway, besides that, kind of a okay week. Had some, applied for some jobs online. Certain areas, Toys R Us, got a reply from them saying, that I met the qualifications, they just don't have nothing open right now. Costco, Burger King, somewhere else I can't think of right now. Have to look. But Burger King, Costco, Subway, the place where my sister's applying at and going in for an interview in a little while, in just about 29 minutes, Red Robin. I've applied at several places as well, so you just probably get something out of those. Subway, like I said, is one of them. Walmart still, so those are just some of the places I applied at. Just probably get a job at one of them. But yeah, it's been been an interesting week, I could say that. And for my nephew, you know, he got to do things. He went out and I think, let me check something. Hold on for a minute, folks. Well, he went out on Tuesday after he relaxed a little bit, and he got himself, well, that was the day I got the Aspen. He helped me get the Aspen and the Rockstar. But he also went out and pre-ordered GTA 5, because he loves that series, for the Xbox, as well as he got himself $25 worth of this, which is League of Legends. Now this card has already been used up, so you don't have to worry about that. But that's mainly all he did this past week, and he was going to get McDonald's, but my mom said, look, save your money and all that, so whatever. Basically, my second older sister got a little upset because out of desperation, you know, both me and my mom were still, you know, barely waking up at the time. You know, she was a little upset that I asked my nephew if I could borrow 155 off of him. Because basically I had to pay off my lawyer deal, like I was talking about earlier. And she wasn't happy about that. Thankfully, thank God I didn't have to do that. Thankfully my brother-in-law paid me the money he owed me. But most of my money went to that, you know, to the payment as well as mailing it out express. So yeah, hopefully she's a little over that now and kind of realized, okay, maybe he didn't really mean to do what he did. And probably she's talked it out with my mom. They're taking her to her interview and all that, so her job interview. So that's all I'm going to say for this TGIF vlog. Very kind of interesting week, and you know, it started on Saturday and all that. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. Video response if you will. And I'll talk to y'all later.